So the 3D concrete printing competition, it's a long string of letters, so we shortened it to 3D concrete competition. And the first activity or the date, or it's usually important to start with the most important part. So you need, if you want to participate, 16th of November is the date you should book. And the aim or the result of this whole activity is to build one to three freestanding objects. So why there is this specific number 1 to 3? It's of course has something to do with the availability of material and the expenses of doing that. But it's also that we start with one object, or like how the prices probably will be allocated is that one object we look for is really realizable, like an object that is easy to print and we know we can do that. Another one is something that is like with some edge or something that is original and interesting. And the third one is kind of this wishful dream that, like, if someone presents a complex idea, so we will hopefully try to create them all three. But that's why we say 1 to 3, because there is no guarantee that we can actually build 3 of them. So we kind of decided to have 3 levels of originality or complexity. So at least one. And what type of objects can you design in this competition? Of course, it's open, so we are not really limiting you. The Latvian university where the objects will be located eventually will send us a brief when you are on site, because it's sort of not on site but online at that time, because the competition will be online. So the idea is that they will provide some sort of ideas, that they could be gates or a sound installation or a light fixture in this campus. Can be a place where you can put pots or greenery elements. It probably will not be a fountain because they are quite technically challenging, but maybe that's the third object that we go for. And benches and sculptures, of course, traditionally work well with 3D printing. So this is the location. So the new LU campus, and the specific location will be revealed in the competition. So no one has unfair advantage before, but there will also be some flexibility if you want to choose the location more specifically. But that will be in the 16th November hackathon. Here you can see from the top. So we are mostly focusing, at least for now, for this front area. The whole process of the competition, so starting with October, already this activity is part of that, but every week, not weekend, but every Tuesday, we have a meetup like this where we go through some of the topics that could help you become a better participant. And of course, you can participate in person, or as most people do, they just watch it later at some point. At least, although I haven't checked how long. I just see the numbers that like 100 people have seen the video, but I haven't checked how long they look at it. So probably our estimations are a little bit too positive in that regard. But anyhow, it is possible to watch the videos later. The idea for this, or the aim for this, is to kind of give you some skills that could help you. So in 3D modeling, we will also try virtual reality modeling and maybe even clay sculpting. Although this clay sculpting should have worked in person, so it will be a little bit challenging to do the clay sculpting distantly. But I suppose if you have your own plasticine on hand, we can do that still. So there are some persons from Art Academy of Latvia who could help us with that. The 16th of November, or the first actual competition where this competition starts, is a 4-hour idea competition online. And you will have a 3-minute proposal pitch, which means that you present your work in 3 minutes after those 4 hours. So you will have a little bit more material to work with. So right now we are withholding some amount of the information. So there is this kind of hackathon vibe. And the idea of that is to find out your creativity and also your interest in the subject. And you can already register in the Facebook event. So from December to February, those teams who will pass this hackathon stage, so basically we will select a few of the best teams. So currently it's up to 10 teams. We will see how many of you register. If only 8 teams register, we'll see that it'll be a good challenge whether we accept all of the 8 or we choose some of them. But we are aiming to have somewhere around 10. And at least ideas. You can participate as a solo person or as a team, and you can also mark if you want to find a specific skill set and you're looking for other team members. It is important to mention that it is really recommended that you have one Latvian speaking person in the team, not Latvian speaking, but a Latvian student, because there will be some participants also from Baltic states. And in that regard, for us to transfer the prize money, which you will hopefully win, we need to know that you are, we need to have a Latvian residency in Latvian university. But given that there are also ability to match teams later on or add people, it shouldn't be a problem. And the fourth part, no, we are still at the third part. So it involves individual mentorship. So those teams who win the idea hackathon receive 500 euros grant money. So it's not real money, it's like monopoly money, but you can use it for consultations with mentors. You can use it for 3D printing scale models. So you can send 3D printing code, and they will design factory will print you a small scale model of your idea. And they will also be used for final presentations. You will need to submit one poster, A1 size, that will also be used in an exhibition where you detail your idea in more detail. So this process takes around 3 months in mentorship with the mentors. You will develop your idea for this final evaluation. After this final evaluation at February or April, depending how long the process takes time, and what happens with COVID and all that, we will award the selected teams. So basically, those teams who win, 3 teams, will have an ability to actually go to production. So basically, printing the models in large scale, working on parts and assembly. So at the third stage, those ideas that present their work all should be printable. So the material should be prepared in that regard. But these teams that win will actually have the chance to print. So let's go further. The competition is open for students and the graduates, and also experts in following fields, such are 3D printing, modeling, architecture, project management, sculpture, and design. So you can participate also if you're not a student, but we ask for which is your main skill when you register, and you'll also have to show, like, or not show, but you can type in one sentence, and please don't be too long there. It's fine to just give a brief if you have worked or you have shown some interest in some of the skill sets that we are looking for. It's also important because if you are looking for a team, then we can match the teams better by looking at your skills that you have marked there. So we have organized these 4-hour idea competitions a few times, and it looks like it's a short time, but then again, it gives you really some boost of energy, and you actually have to create a result in 4 hours, which we believe is the shortest amount of time where you can focus, but also create something. So that should be quite interesting. Usually it happened in person. So there was this, everyone's running around, grabbing scissors and papers, etc. So it will be really interesting to see how it works in an online format. And you can prepare for it better through these weekly meetups. And you might ask on what they are. Usually they are at 7 o'clock, but this time we have to catch a plane in 1 hour. So we started a little bit earlier at 6 o'clock. That also messed up some people's calendars. So, but it's fine. It's recorded, and I think they will be able to watch them later. So the next meeting will be intro in 3D printing, 3D concrete printing in this regard from Māris Šinka, who also is here. So if you have some questions, you can ask them now and hear the answers probably in the next meetup. And after that, we already started that, and I will show you where you can find these. We already did organic 3D modeling, a few meetups. We probably will do a few more where you can model in 3D Blender, like sculpt the idea virtually. So that's how you generate 3D printable geometry. The other one will be, we have virtual modeling in plastics, and because originally it was planned to be in person, but now it will be virtual. So we need to try to shape some shapes. We actually have ordered some plasticine and clay, but we will figure out the logistics. This will be one of the later meetups. And then there will also be, this is also problematic. We have VR headsets for you to try on and kind of try to model the geometry in VR, like virtual reality, and then use this geometry for printing. But I suppose you will need to reserve a time, and we will see, as I understand, 2 households can be together. So basically you can come to the office and reserve a time for 3D modeling if you want to do that. We will provide all the safety equipment, etc. But we do need to wait for the government to put out full regulations so we can know how that works. We are based in city center, so it's not that far. The next part, yeah, this is an example how like sculpting in clay looks like. In this case, it's plasticine, but you can generate a form in scale model, and then you can either scan it with your phone or use more professional tools and then put it in computer and kind of smooth out the geometry to create a real printable object. Another way is using headsets. So you basically do the same thing, only you model in real scale. At least you can model in real scale, so you don't need to scale it down. You can actually use the full scale modeling capabilities. And of course, there is this classical 3D modeling where you actually use the interface of a computer. Either it's CAD modeling or some parametric approaches. If you are into that, definitely that's also an interesting way. And actually, we have a large library now of 3D modeling tutorials on our Facebook page. But of course, internet is full with that. You don't need to stick with hours, but it's just one place where you can find. Also, our experts are always available for questions if you need to find help with something that can definitely be arranged. And so about the 16th of November, we already sketched in. So basically, it's a 4-hour idea competition, and then you have 3 to 5 minutes for pitches. I think it's originally meant 3 for pitches and 3 for questions. And so you don't need to render something super high quality. The idea is that you provide a sketch that illustrates your idea. It can be a plasticine model. It can be something that you draw in CAD if you want to. It can also be a sketch on paper, but it has to present what you want to create in this competition. And the jury, I will have a slide later about the jury, but so the next section of January to March is this evaluation of best ideas and submitting the posters, but we already went through that. The more important part here is the evaluation criteria. So when you are designing your idea, so these are the 3 main categories. So one project or one aspect we are evaluating and the jury is looking towards is design and idea. So the quality of your design, or it's an original idea. The other one, and those are like different jury members. Each of them have competencies in specific aspects. So another part of jury looks more towards maintenance. So basically, will this object actually be able to be used in the real world? And the third part, which is probably more towards Māris and his laboratory, is this understanding of technology. So basically, we are looking at projects that have geometrical properties that are suited for 3D printing. So how can you find that out? It's probably in next Tuesday's meetup when we will have Māris' presentation. Basically, there are a little bit of limitations, and our idea is not to kind of limit you with them, because 3D printing is in some regards limitless. You can get bigger printers and find different solutions. But in this case, we also want to use this as a challenge. So we know our limitations in this case. You can try to play around that, but basically the idea of the third point, which is quite important, is that the idea you provide has to make sense to be 3D printable. If it can be made in a mold or something, some different technique, it would be probably a little bit less interesting. So those are the 3 evaluation criteria. About the jury, so I didn't put full mentors because I forgot, but on the website there's a full list of them. But the ones on the top currently are and the list can change. We haven't had full confirmations from all of them. Some more have already applied. So total list now is around 12. But there will be one representative from Latvian University, one from Riga Technical University, one representative from 3D printing laboratory, or even 2, and then an artist or sculptor. So kind of at least 4 jury members from 4 selected fields. The full prize pool is 5,000 to 10,000 euros. However, don't get too happy. It does mean that it's divided among teams, and it basically works why there is a sign. Some of the partners are still calculating how much they will give. So basically, if they decide to sponsor the first prize, then there will be more teams who get this bigger prize. So there could be a case where you actually give more awards. We will see, but basically it should be at least full price pool should be at least 5,000. That's what we have put in our regulations. And in the best case scenario, it could be more prices. So basically, some sponsors have already been positive, some are still thinking. So that's why there is a hyphen. Which also includes this 500 euros you will get for working with this so-called monopoly money when you develop your idea further. So you have some funding there too. And the partner call is open till 30th of October. That's for anyone who's a possible sponsor and wants to join in. So in 30th of October, we close the sponsor window. So there's still 10 or 11 days to join. You can contact me here, but I think more importantly, these domains, when you have a full list, will become active. So that the lower one is already active, you can go and register. But the easiest way probably now is just to click on this. Well, you can't click on the image, but you can type in the words. So if you go to 3D Concrete Competition 2021, there is already a link where you can register. And the quicker you register, the safer you are, definitely. Basically, this is the event. There is also a page that hosts the event. It's called 3D Concrete Competition, so you shouldn't probably mix them too. I see you all are young people and understand Facebook, but sometimes others don't see the difference between a page and event. So what you are looking for if you want to register is the event, because hopefully there will be 3D Concrete Competition 2022, 2023, and so on. So this one is for this year's event. There's also a 3D printing news group where we share news and articles about 3D printing. You can join it even if you don't want to participate. It's just where we show some interesting examples, etc. And also Māris has his own laboratory Facebook page where they share their progress and results and findings. And when you register, we will add you to the WhatsApp group. So those participants who have actually registered, you will have a specific group where you will have more detailed information for that. So that's quite important. If you register earlier, you will get more information about the meetups, etc. Because on Facebook, it's sometimes hard to find everything that's happening, and real life is busy. So if you register earlier, we will already add you to the list where we send out the information about following activities. So yes, thank you all for attention. So currently, these are the partners we are working with or that have shown interest in supporting this project. Big thanks to those. And I suppose we can continue with questions section. So if there are any questions, feel free to ask them to me or anyone else in this Zoom call. Looks like everyone is super interested. So if you don't ask questions, us you'll ask questions you. That's also an option. So maybe there is some questions that have come from us that we have heard from people. So some of you are asking where to find more information. So basically, yeah, the print/concrete/hyphen.com. That's the official website. We will add more information there. Currently, you can see the full list of mentors and a timeline of the event. But yeah, I would say that the best chance is just to register in the Facebook event, fill in the registration form. Even if you don't know your specific team name or a number of team members, it's totally okay, because each participant registers individually, and you need to form teams only when you present. So if you already know your team members, that's great. But you can also just register individually, and then yeah, you can have team members where you all are architects. We recommend having a variety of skills, but there is no limitation of how many skills are in which team. So that's also on, and some people have joined us, so we need to start the presentation all, all over again. You will need to, okay, we will show you the most important slide. So that's as it's said that you always have to repeat the most important information 3 times. So at least it will be done 2 times. So sponsors are important, but the most important is this event. So am I sharing the screen? I am, okay. So basically you can register here, and if you register, then you will be added to the list where we can share more information with you. The event happens at 16th of November, and we are working with large scale 3D printing in concrete. Well, yeah, maybe Māris, if you are willing, we still have like 15 or 20 minutes before our plane takes off. Maybe we can ask you some questions ourselves, or like, I mean, know that we will have this full, large, not full, but a bit more bigger event on 3D printing capabilities from RTU 3D laboratory next week, next Tuesday. But maybe you can give like 1-2 sentence kind of what's possible right now, and is there something that students shouldn't do? Like maybe there are like traditional mistakes like overlapping geometries or printing something that is too steep, or like if there are some beginner mistakes, or when people are thinking about sketches and ideas what they would like to design, is there some roads that are really hard and it's probably not a good idea to follow them, but maybe it is. So yeah, the question would be to rephrase, is there some rookie mistakes that usually people who start with 3D concrete printing make, and how to avoid them, especially from design perspective?
I think that's a good question. If I would have hosted a lot of these events, I would have had
we will find out.
Answer.
The answer is yes.
Yes,
we will find
because,
out.
Yes, because I can only think of the things that we did wrong, because we haven't had this like an idea to give it like to somebody else, and then he makes his own mistakes for us. No, we haven't. We didn't go in this direction. I would say some of the limitations I will explain in my next week's presentation, but as we already discussed with Māris, I would like for this event to bring in some new ideas. The idea is for me not to limit, like do not make it too steep, do not make it that, and make this like, and you will end up with a cube or something like that. But we don't want it.
We want to try. Okay, great.
Yes, we want. In the first stage, in the first event, I would say it's a lot better to have this crazy idea, and then in those 3 months we will find a solution. Because I will show in the next week's video, like when you see the object, like we don't want this object to be just like printed. The whole object should be printed like in a one go from start to finish with this printer. Yeah, and of course that would limit the geometry of the objects, but maybe some of the parts can be printed. Maybe we need something to make in a little bit different way. It is of course possible. Nowadays a lot of structures, a lot of buildings that are being built with 3D printing technology have this like load bearing frame that is from different material. Yes, it's just taking the best of the 3D printing that is available right now, and
combining it
and combining with other materials. So, but if we we limit ourselves to the things that we can do with this one 3D printer, then of course we also talk that I will give the limitations for like the maximum size of the object that we can print, but the idea is that you can combine several objects to get the whole object, and you will see that for the most cases the most interesting objects that are being built in the world are done in this way. It's not like one single print. In one single print you can build like a large house, but it's without any interesting geometric features, and this is not
I also think if you print a really large object, there are these inner stresses. You still need some kind of division between, or like when the material heats up or contracts, like there could be some fracture. I suppose I'm as much as in our architect education, they told us there is some span of amount of material where you still need to divide it, even if it's homogeneous.
Yes, and when you do these large prints, you actually don't do it in most of the time you don't do it in one day. You just print some layers, then it cures, then you print the next die, the next maybe meter, maybe a little bit more. But so yeah, but that's I think is not the main goal of this competition, because for this kind of the other limitation that there is still with 3D printing is the building code that
that's the biggest limitation.
Yeah, that does not fully allow. For example, we couldn't build a 3D printed load-bearing construction right now in Latvia. Well, no, okay, and then there is an asterisk, because if we could do like this design by testing, so we could we should have made like a scale or the scale models like only half of the size of that real thing. And so we like build a house, build like a smaller house, crush it in a large testing machine to see how the loads are working. But there are several load factors that affect this building, so we would have to make several different models. So it would be possible, but that's why you need a building code to make this like a uniform building method. So you don't need to do this a lot of expensive testing. So that's another limitation, and that's why in this case we will try to avoid building objects that would require some hard thinking about the loads and how the structure would have, like if there is some something can break and fall onto somebody, then we will try to avoid those, because then I think the first one, there was some archways or something like that. There are ways how we could design, of course, those, but it is easier to avoid them. But I will show how we can do it with a classical, more traditional approach, and that's why I would recommend, in the team there should, well, it would be better if there would be somebody from this a student or with a competence in some kind of a construction or engineering that understands how the loads and impacts work.
Okay, that's a good skill. Yeah. Like engineering capabilities will be important. That's something to take away. I think it was really great trailer you did.
Did like because in this case because you must understand that in this case there is no not much defined rules how we can print this object. We will have to find it out, and the idea is that that the teams will do it together with their mentors. But of course, this time with the mentor is also limited. So if you will do some crazy geometry and you will want to go on with this idea, you will have to somehow find the solution for yourself. Mentor can help you for a few hours, but he cannot fully think how this should be built in the best way and all the detail.
Yeah, mentor is not the author. It's a very important distinction here. So mentors there are to help you, but you need to be capable to deliver on your own. So how hard you put your task. So of course, the first place we will reward those who give a bigger challenge to themselves. But there are also second and third place, so you can tactically play your cards.
Yeah, but of course, as you mentioned, one of the criteria is what was it called? The idea how you can realize this. It is actually possible to print and do. We don't need because really crazy idea that cannot be printed. Yes, but it's the great challenge, but not technically possible right now. So we need to find that nice balance between.
Yeah, something that can be done until next year's April. So so it's quite ambitious, but still grounded in that regard. Okay, well, thank you for sparing the time. It was really interesting, and I think it's a great trailer for the next week's full presentation. So definitely tune in. That will be in 7 o'clock, so a bit later. It's easier for working people to make time then. And otherwise, have a great weekend. Stay safe, and then see you next Tuesday, I guess. If we have one question or two, we still have 10 minutes, so we can do that. But if you want, you can raise the hand, and I will. Okay, so everyone is smiling and they are happy with the information they have. Oh, perfect. I suppose if you still remember something, you can definitely put in Facebook comments, or also when you register in the form, you can type in the comments if you have a specific question, and we will forward those where they need to arrive, and the answers at some point will materialize. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Cheers.